Hey, Andy Costa here with Andy Costa Films, and today we're talking with Ashley. Ashley C. I actually don't know what C stands for, so maybe you have to tell me. So Ashley is a film producer. I met Ashley at Transformational Film Institute. We worked together for a week on a couple of projects. She's fantastic. She's such a great spirit. She's always there, always willing to help, very established producer. We're going to talk with Ashley and learn a little bit more of what a producer is. So, Ashley, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me, Andy. I'm a mother, first and foremost.
How many kids you have?
I have three children. I have a
Wow.
daughter and two sons, 13, 11, and 7.
Bless your heart.
So yeah, they are a lot of the motivation behind what I do.
Okay.
Um, Actually, I accidentally ended up in the industry. I
Oh,
like to say I accidentally ended up
uh-huh.
here. I was helping a friend who said he wanted to produce a film.
Okay.
And for me, I'm like, produce a film? That's like crazy, you know? And so I just got on and I was his assistant, and then I liked it. I was like,
Okay.
okay, I can do this.
All
Then
right.
I went to school for it and got my bachelor's degree for it. Then it became a passion of mine. And it just took off from there.
That's fantastic. How long ago was that?
I've been about 7, 8 years.
Okay, so it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So actually, some people, well, let's start by telling people what a producer does. What is a producer?
They do everything. A producer does everything. You have your different producers, but I think the producer is the backbone of the the piece coming together.
Uh-huh.
They are the one that's going to help you find funding. They're the one that's going to make sure that you have the right crew and everything that you need to bring this vision to life. They are a major part of the business side of what you're going to do after you film, because so many independent filmmakers think that it's over after set. They see all these cameras and stuff, and it's lights, camera, action, and then we're done, and
That's
it's
when
not.
the movie starts, right? After film.
Right. So the producer just helps guide that and keep that intact along the way.
So that's fantastic that you said that the producer takes care of pretty much everything, all the aspects. So without being very specific, how many phases a movie has? So from idea to script. So tell them the phases that a movie has.
Okay. Well, definitely it starts with an idea. Someone wakes up and say, I have the greatest idea ever, and this is it. And so the next phase is kind of writing it out and developing that concept, and connecting with the right writers that will help you really build your story. And then after that, you have to connect with the right producer, I would say, or someone that that's in the business that knows a producer after you've developed your stuff and it's solid,
Mm-hmm.
and let them kind of take you from there. And it goes, you can it you have different filmmakers that have different aspirations for their films.
Right.
We have people that want their films to go to theaters, and then we
Right.
have some that want to go straight to Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
Hulu, and
Mm-hmm.
all of these other
Mm-hmm.
streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on
Also called video on demand, VOD.
video on demand,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And so depending on what you want to do with your film, take it kind
Mm-hmm.
of that
Mm-hmm.
determines the next step in the
Mm-hmm.
phase. And usually, if it's straight to Netflix, we're pitching. We
Mm-hmm.
have to package that idea and
Mm-hmm.
pitch it to the
Mm-hmm.
streaming platforms, and
Wow.
that's a process in itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Right.
overnight, definitely not overnight, but that's
Mm-hmm.
a process in itself, and getting it in front of the right people that can fund.
Yeah, and you said something very important. You have to pitch that idea either to an investor to go theatrical or to an aggregator like Netflix. And some people think that, oh, I'm going to pitch. I'm just going to show up and talk about my idea. It's not right like that, right? So tell me a little bit more about the pitch process,
Ooh.
without without too many details.
Well, definitely you have to connect with the right aggregator.
Uh-huh.
And definitely they take it under their wing as their own, and they go to Netflix and they go and
Uh-huh.
they pitch on behalf for you. You
Okay.
know, they present your work
Uh-huh.
for you. They say, hey, I endorse this.
Uh-huh.
This, I think that this could make this amount of money, and this is what I have. And they go and negotiate that for you. And of course, as a filmmaker, you have first rights to deny and negotiate and all that. But that
Yeah,
that's a
but what I'm talking about, or what I want to get to, is that the pitch process. It takes, maybe, I mean, for me,
oh,
to develop a pitch deck, it takes a month too to put the right pitch deck in, and the right crew and everything else. So you're ready to present. It's not
man.
just like, oh, I have an idea, because a lot of people come to me and say, hey, I have an idea for a movie. I said, but where's your pitch deck? Was my what?
And they, well, yeah, exactly.
Where's
Yeah,
the synopsis? Oh, what is a synopsis? So, so tell a
yeah.
little bit about a pitch deck and a synopsis.
A pitch deck is your film. This is your opportunity to present your film to major people that can really propel your film to where it needs to be. So this pitch deck needs to have a synopsis, which is an overview of your film. It needs to have character breakdowns. It needs to have budgeting information, comparables. What are you comparing this film to, and how well you think it would do? What's the story behind the story, the inspiration, and why you're even trying to do this?
And another thing that people don't understand is that if you're not prepared to
Mm,
present your movie to an investor or an aggregator, they have so many projects that if you're not prepared, they're not even gonna, spend the time looking at you, right?
no, no. They want, because what they want to do, they want to take this stuff and go. Like these aggregators are ready to move, and they don't have time to help you, with the small stuff. You definitely need to prepare, and that's my major thing that I tell all of my clients. We need to prepare before we get to pitch. And this is not even to pitch. This is just preparing your story and making sure that you have crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So this is something that people need to learn and connect with Ashley. So let's talk a little bit about your production company. So now you have a production company. You have
Mhm.
worked on how many, without an exact number, but how many movies have you helped produce?
I would say about 7.
Okay, that's
I've
fantastic.
helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I helped, and a lot of those went to film festivals,
Okay.
and that was a way that that filmmaker was funding,
Uh-huh.
getting distribution to get their stuff seen. So a
Hmm.
lot of it went to film festivals, and but I really enjoyed the journey. It's been really fun. My production company is, I think I like to say it's different
Hmm.
because it's not just about making films.
Mm.
My company has those services where we can make your film. We can find the right people and the right crew to create your film. But I more so wanted to have a foundation for independent filmmakers to learn the actual process of filmmaking,
That's
so that you're
fantastic.
not just out there writing and guessing and
Okay.
creating content for no reason. I really want to teach independent artists how to go the phases by phases. Let's start from the beginning. Let's develop. You need to develop your story. After your story is developed, let's sit down and talk. Let's break the script down. Let's
Uh-huh.
see how much this is even going to cost you, because so many people think they have the idea until bam,
Uh-huh.
it's on budget, and it's like they see the budget and they're like, whoa. So
Right.
I just really want to introduce that process,
Uh-huh.
and really bridge the gap between
Uh-huh.
independent filmmakers and industry.
So a lot of people ask me, so how much does a movie cost? Well, this is a very, very hard question to make, but you just hit the nail on the head here, saying you have to lay down your script, and based on your script, you're going to figure out your budget. So for
Mhm.
instance, let's say that, oh, it's a rom-com, a romantic comedy, and the script is showing that, and the guy goes to Central Park, and he lands on a helicopter, and he goes on a limousine, and the limousine is filled with flowers. Okay, All right. So that 30-second scene already is costing $500,000, right?
Right.
People don't get this, but what is $500,000? Well, you have to have a helicopter. You have to lock down the Central Park, and you have to have this, and you have to have
Right.
that. So this is something that you can help them look at their script and says, look, this is too much money for the budget you have. But and again, it is not a straightforward question, but people ask, how much money does a movie cost? There's not a straight answer, but tell me some of the budgets that you have worked with.
Okay. I love this question. Okay. So I am working with an artist on a film, a writer on a film, and we shot a spec piece. We shot just a proof of concept because he's very serious about getting this into theaters. And his concept of proof, 3 minutes and some change, cost close to $20,000.
Wow. And
So
people,
you put that in perspective.
people are thinking, how 3 minutes can cost $20,000? Tell them why it costs $20,000.
Who, we had to rent lights, we had to rent camera equipment, we had to pay the people to operate the equipment, we had to pay for locations, we had to pay for permits, we had to pay for everything. So it costs. It really does cost. And if you really want that quality, it's going to cost.
Absolutely. Another thing that you said is very important. You have to pay for permit. Not only you have to pay for the permit, but you have to negotiate with the place that you're shooting. Because I went on a shoot one day, and I didn't even know that you needed a permit or anything like this. And the guy comes, oh, what's your permit? Well, I don't have one. Well, you have insurance? No. So,
right.
And then you have to learn, okay, oh, I need to have insurance. I need to have millions of dollars in insurance, because people think, oh, you're filming in here. Oh, you're going to blow up things, and you're going to, no, I'm just doing an interview. Oh, I don't care. You have to have insurance. So those are all the things that the producer is aware of, is taking care of, and is making sure that the filmmaker is not going to end up in jail, right?
Right. Yes, right.
So when you're working on a big set, and you're just one of the producers, and I want to talk more about the specifics that producers have, but people sometimes they ask me, so how long is a day on a real set? Not just a little thing, but a real movie. So what is a typical day of a producer on a real movie?
I'm speaking for myself. As producer, I want to say it's 12 hours. It's 12 plus hours on set. And here's why, as producer, because we want a good producer, okay? A producer that's doing their job. We want to make sure that everything from opening the doors to the location, to making sure that breakfast is laid out right, to making sure that we have enough sign-in sheets for the cast and the crew members to sign in, make sure that everybody timed the time that they got there, and the time that they're going to lunch, and the time they leave, because if anybody works overtime and it's not approved, we get fined. So we have to make sure. So it's long days.
And now you talk about something very important. So anybody that's working overtime and it's not approved. Now you're talking about unions, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this thing that you can work with a union, a SAG or SAG actors, or non-union actors. So that's another thing that filmmaker needs to understand. So if I'm working with unions, there's a whole new set of problems that the producer needs to be aware of, so the producer can take care of.
Absolutely. And we're in constant contact with SAG. We have someone assigned to us that's kind of watching us, making sure that that everything is how it's supposed to be.
I have a short, very interesting story. Oh my God, what is the guy? My favorite director, that I just forgot the name of it. He did the trilogy of Batman, Interstellar. Christopher Nolan. So an interesting story about Christopher Nolan. He was shooting somewhere that was union, and there was a light that he wanted to move, and he just, went there, grabbed the sandbag to move the light, and somebody comes like, "You can't do that. You can do that. You can't touch it." It's like,
No.
what? Why can't I touch the light? No, no, no. There's somebody that's going to do that. That's not your job. So explain how the unions take care of that.
Oh, it's very, just stay in your lane. Just if there's someone assigned for everything to take care of specific things for a reason, because they're trained in that area to handle. You think, just because I'm moving a sandbag or a light over there's nothing. But what happens when that very piece of equipment falls over, when you were moving this sandbag, or anything could happen, and it's just for the protection of the equipment, for the protection of the worker, for the protection of everybody. Just stay in your lane.
That's great. So let me ask you this. So you're a mom, you have 3 kids in young ages. How do you deal with 12? And many times when you're shooting, you're remote, right? You're traveling someplace else.
Yeah.
And people don't understand this. So you spend a lot of time doing your concept, writing your script, and then casting, and then you finally get down to, okay, let's shoot. And that's 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the movie. But then you shoot someplace else, right? That has incentives, production incentives. That it's cheaper to shoot. So you're 4 weeks away from your house. How do you deal with this being a mom?
I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have a really good support system. I don't have to pack my kids up and take them with me. So their dad is very supportive of my career and what I choose to do. And so he takes on a lot of the responsibility and making sure that, the kids are at school on time and homework is done, which you really don't see a lot of the daddies taking care of that, but their dad is very, very, very hands-on. So if I have to leave for a while, and my kids are so supportive. So I'm like, hey, I have to be gone, but I'm working on this cool movie and this is what's going to happen. I kind of have to involve them. They're like, okay, go get it. So, it's a balance. It's a balance, but it's also hard because I am away from my children, and I would love for them to be on set and see what I do. Quick, short story. I was on my way to a production in the city, and my children were home, and I asked, my sons, do y'all want to go to set with me? Let's go to set with me. And my oldest was like, no, Mom. And I'm like, why? He was like, nobody wants to see you boss people around. I see that enough. I was like, oh man. So they're really supportive, and they understand what I do and what I have to do to make a successful film. So that helps.
That's fantastic. So Ashley, it was a pleasure talking to you. I hope people understand a little bit more of what a producer does. Please get in touch with Ashley. She is a stellar producer. She will take care of your project from idea to delivery.
Yes.
Ashley, it was a pleasure. I'm looking forward in working with you again in the near future.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, thanks, guys, and stay tuned for our next meeting with somebody from the film industry that you're going to learn what it takes to become a real filmmaker.